Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to just take a couple of moments to talk a little bit about the public health aspects and how it relates to what the President just said about the need for us to begin to at least think about returning to some degree of normality. And that has to do with what's going to be happening as we end this week and we go into next week. You will be seeing, and we should not be surprised because the kinetics of how this virus works is that we're going to be seeing that there are going to be deaths that are going to continue to go up. But as I mentioned to this group and to the general public multiple times, there really is a cascading of events where you have new cases, hospitalizations, intensive care, and deaths. So at the same time that we may be seeing an increase in deaths, we want to focus on the effect of mitigation is really the number of new cases. And that's what we're going to be thinking about and looking about. So we're going to pay close attention to that, and hopefully the kinds of mitigations that we're talking about are going to have the impact to allow us to begin to think about maybe changing a bit. So the question arises is the mitigation working? So let's look historically and then just look at the reality of it. Clearly in the countries, China included, that have implemented since very strict kinds of programs of mitigation, clearly it works. In our own country, we've seen indication of that in Washington. Remember, Washington State was the first to get hit, but they put in a really good program of mitigation. And if you look at the charts that Dr. Berg showed the other day, they're still down there doing well. And the reason is, again, what I've said before, but I think it's worth reiterating, that we have two opposing forces here. The virus, which wants to do what the virus wants to do. Viruses transmit from people to people. When people are separated from each other, virus does not transmit. It doesn't go anywhere. And that's the reason why something as simple as the physical separations, because if you look at the Vice President's chart that he shows all the time here from this podium, every aspect of that ending the COVID outbreak in 30 days has some aspect of it of physical separation, whether that's avoiding crowds, whether that's staying 6 feet away from people, whether that's doing teleworking, all of it does that. That's our most important tool. We'll be talking about vaccines and drugs and things like that that will mitigate later. But this is what we really have to do. And I want to actually just plead, as I do multiple times from here, to the American public. You know, as sobering and as difficult as this is, what we are doing is making a difference. So we really need to continue to do that. I must tell you, I was just mentioning to the Vice President as we came in, last night when I wasn't here, I went out with my wife and actually did a little power walking down Massachusetts Avenue. For those who live in Washington know what I'm talking about. And we passed a couple of restaurants where people were getting takeout food. The restaurants were closed to people going in, but they were open to takeout. And I saw something that absolutely made me feel really, really good. They were separating themselves by at least 6 feet. In fact, some of the restaurants had little things on the floor that said, stand here and then stand there. And I think if we as a nation pull together to do that, hopefully when we keep coming back here at these press conferences, we'll be able to show you that that curve that we keep talking about is going in the right direction. And I'd be happy to answer questions later. Thank you.